This is Andre Banks coming today from Banks Credit Chat discussing accredited debt relief. Now, accredited debt relief has gotten some notoriety lately. They've done a number of commercials, and from the commercials alone, it sounds like a place you wanted to go to. Their slogan is debt made easy, debt relief made easy. And although the title and slogan says made easy, it doesn't appear to be that in any form or fashion. Give you a little bit of background for people who are not aware of accredited debt relief. Their company started around 2011, so after the great financial recession. And although they specialize in a number, they say they specialize in a number of different areas, from debt consolidation to debt management to debt settlement. They try to cover the whole gambit. They're a for-profit company. And typically there's nothing wrong with a for-profit company except when they focus their attention on debt settlements. And debt settlement plans are a huge flag comes into place when I'm talking about that. And there's usually a red flag to stay away from them, because although their focal point is saying they cover every aspect to help you with your debt problems, their focus is on debt settlement. And debt settlement is, for those who are unaware, you're asking the creditor to take less than what is actually owed. And it's always an issue when you're doing a debt settlement issue, because the creditor can just say no. There's no incentive for them to take less than what is actually owed. Typically, you focus on a debt management program that would actually consolidate the debt and make at a lower payment. But their focal point is debt settlement, because that's where they make the most of their money. Another issue with credit debt relief, they tend to focus on any debt over $10,000. Anything under $10,000, they really don't, even though they say on their website that, hey, we will work with you on the $10,000, they really want anything over $10,000, because that's where they can make the majority of their capital in terms of charging your fees. So essentially, with any program with debt settlement, they tell you not to pay the creditors. We're going to work something out. They have you sign an agreement. They usually charge you an upfront fee. And this is not just penalize them, because their job is to do, they have actually a 5+ rating they have an A+ rating according to Better Business Bureau. And if anytime you're looking up on a Google search, they have really a lot of positive reviews. But the people who do have complaints with them, especially if you're calling and you say, hey, you know what, you fill out your information on the website, then they'll call you back, and and through the course of the conversation, you may say, change your mind, like, hey, this is not for me. Don't be surprised if they continue to email you and call you and do everything they possibly can to get you under another program or have them look at it, even though they said, oh, okay, it's fine, you can go on your way, and we're not going to bother you with it more. A lot of people found out that even when you're telling them no through the process, they'll still find out ways to reach you through email, even phone calls, almost like you're constantly going to be spammed by them. That's one thing to keep in mind. Secondly, if you do sign up for a debt relief program, which is typically the debt settlement, the fees can be egregious, up to 25%. They say that they initially, when they're working through the process, they're not charging, depending on how much debt you have or what debts they think they can work with you in settling. They're not going to charge you too much up front, but they typically do a monthly payment as well. I've seen small cases where they try to even charge you $25, $50, or $70. And even when you cancel, you hopefully get that refund check back in. It's a long process for you even getting refunded if you cancel. But again, they're known for the debt settlement. I want to focus, again, stating that, I want to make sure I put that as a focal point. They're known for debt settlement. And as I've said before in another company, anything dealing with debt settlements, the creditor does not have to take that payment arrangement, taking less than what they actually owe. That's why I tend, in my experience of doing as a debt management, a credit counselor, I tend to tell people to go for a debt management because I did a whole video on freedom debt relief. They're taking on the same process. Just credit debt relief, they're packaging it a lot more nicer, where they're not initially stating they're going to focus on debt settlement. They're saying we can help you with consolidation, we can help you with debt management, we're going to look at your overall financial picture, and that's a way to get you inside and kept you off guard. But again, their focal point is to push you to that debt settlement program, where they can make their funding for. Don't be put off, don't be confused or led astray by the high rating that they receive. Once you're on the debt settlement program, it's really a tumultuous situation to be in. Again, I'm not saying that you cannot have any good events from coming from a debt settlement. Just my experience, they have not been something favorable for the person long term. I've seen people start with on programs that go for debt settlement with as high as a 700 credit score and find that dropping to 450 to 500, just to say a few, because of, again, you're asking the creditor to take less, and it's a process even to do that. So you're making yourself, if you were in a situation that wasn't bad before, you're going to find yourself in a terrible situation when you're not making any payments. And since we live in an age credit is everything. So again, I stress again not to function on a debt settlement plan in any form or fashion. So credit debt relief, and although it has a high rating, it's one that's for the individuals who eventually get to a situation where they get some relief. For the majority of people, you can try to work out things with the creditor himself without having to pay a fee to do that. If you're going to look for a debt settlement, why don't you just talk to the creditor itself that you have? A company that specializes in that, their incentive is to get the money from you initially, and that's why they're going to function from a settlement, and they charge you to do this with this separate account that they're setting up. Kind of a little bit all over the place in trying to discuss that credit debt relief. It's just something that brings to my attention people who kept talking about, hey, you heard of credit debt relief? I like their commercials. They got a really high rating with the Better Business Bureau, and everything seems to be up in front, and then you find out when you peel back the layers there that it's a number of different things that stem for alarm. Again, as I mentioned before, they focus on debt settlement, even though they say they try to do everything. And if you're not focusing on looking out for the best aspect for the consumer, whereas you're looking at the overall financial picture, and even though nonprofit has gotten I've had a number of nonprofit companies who function like a profit company. At least with them, they have the umbrella to try to function under the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and try to follow the guidelines, because they could lose their nonprofit status. With a profit company, it's a lot harder to get them to change or do something that's in the best interest, unless they're just losing a lot of customers. But they will always find a new one who's looking for a way to get out of a debt obligation. Do your homework. These are my recommendations that you should really consider talking to the creditors directly before trying anything with a credit debt relief or any debt settlement company in general. For credit debt relief, again, be aware before you know what you're getting at, and even though they promote that they're handling they look at your whole financial picture and try to give you the best solution, their focal point is to get you to a debt settlement, which is not in your best interest and has tremendous negative repercussions, especially in this day and age where credit is everything. If this video has been any value to you, please subscribe, leave some comments. In my next video for Banks Credit Chat, I'm out.